What's going on, guys? Rich here for RageWorks. We got a brand new Diamond Select statue for review, and it is the one and only Joe Fixit. As many of you know, Joe Fixit is one of the Hulk's many alter egos, from regular Savage Green Hulk to Smart Hulk to one of my favorites, Joe Fixit. Joe Fixit's appearance here isn't from any specific comic book, but is pretty much a Diamond interpretation of what we've seen Joe Fixit look like when he's in Vegas. As always, when it comes to Diamond boxes, you're getting the triple window setup, giving you full view of the statue from all three angles, and the trademark Diamond sunroof. As for the packaging itself, typical Diamond fare, which is not necessarily a bad thing in this case because you want to get a great look at the statue, which you do. On the back, you are going to get a nice preview image of the statue, out of the box of course, a brief bio on it, and of course credits to the sculptor and the statue's designer. The statue was designed by Caesar and sculpted by Alterton. But enough talking about the box, the background, and everything else. Let's crack this puppy open, get a good look at Joe Fixit, and see if he has a place on your shelf. And we're back. We got Joe Fixit out of the box. At a glance, real quick, the design of the statue as a whole is incredibly well done, but as is to be expected when it comes to Diamond Select sometimes, especially mass-produced pieces like this, there are a few little nitpicks. Obviously, the suit is great, not too matte, but also not too shiny, which is nice. The tie adds a good pop of color, but that pop of color is offset by the pop of color in the Hulk's teeth. It seems that when they were shading the Hulk's face and adding some of the contour here, some of it got on his teeth. So if you look closely, it looks like Joe Fixit got himself a fresh pair of braces. Again, you got to look real close to see it, but it is noticeable. Also, the joy of having the Hulk wearing a hat is great because, again, a lot of Joe Fixit imagery is always with him wearing the hat, but trying to paint under that hat has its own set of challenges. In this case, the Hulk has a wandering eye. He has one perfectly good eye, and then this eye, not so much. And of course, you can probably pick one up at your local shop or order it online, and yours may be perfectly fine. But it's just something to consider when you are dealing with mass-produced pieces like this. Those small nitpicks aside, the attention to detail for this statue was incredibly well done. I like the broken roulette wheel and the chips here, very indicative of just the Hulk getting pissed off and throwing someone out of a casino, which is perfectly acceptable and in line with the whole Vegas motif of the statue. I like also that they paid attention to some of the more subtle details that are easy to phone in, like the shoes. You can clearly make out the laces. You can also make out the indentation of the bend of the foot. Again, small things that you would think with a statue like this would take a back seat, but I personally appreciate them because it really just adds a little bit more quality to what is essentially a very well-priced budget piece from Diamond Select. The suit itself, as I said, I like the sheen. I like the patterns and the differentiation between each level and each layer of the suit. You can see the separation between the jacket and the vest. There's also a good amount of texture on the napkin itself, so you can actually touch it and know that it is separate from the suit. Same thing with the tie. Even the buttons are raised and break up the suit nicely so that it feels like a real piece of clothing on this piece, which I thought, again, small details which I thoroughly appreciated from this statue. The pose, I kind of just feel like he's like, hey, what am I doing over here? Like, that's kind of the vibe I get from the statue, which I thought was, again, very Las Vegas, very cool of the Hulk, but just a weird pose. I would have rathered maybe him breaking through or stepping on the roulette wheel itself. The pose itself seems just odd. Now, it could be because they wanted to control the scale a little bit, even though Grey Hulk is smaller compared to some of the other Hulk incarnations, but the pose is hit or miss for me personally. The attention to detail and just the appreciation for such a a character like Joe Fixit, which doesn't get really a lot of pieces. Sure, Marvel has done some action figures and some stuff of the character, but higher end Bowen back in the early 2000s used to do some Grey Hulk pieces and a couple of other sculptors here and there, but a budget line like this from Diamond capturing a character like this, which has his own fandom, is a very cool touch. Minus the braces and the wandering eye, I think that this is a great piece and is a welcome addition to any shelf, and you can pick it up at any of your local comic and specialty stores, of course, Amazon, Big Bad Toy Store, the usual suspects, and we'll make sure to include links for that in the notes for this video. So that about wraps up the unboxing and review of this Joe Fixit Hulk from Diamond Select, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.